But I've found that the biggest struggle that I've had with my playing is being able to accurately convey my emotions as being a percussionist. And from my perspective, it's been due to the fact that drums don't have specific pitches that can relate to the key of a chart. Because I found when I'm listening to music and it's in a specific key and then a certain note is played, it conveys a certain emotion. Like going from a song that's in a major key to a minor key, people would interpret it differently, but I personally interpret minor keys as having a more dark kind of feel to it. And I was just wondering if there's any way to better convey my emotions through specifically rhythms.
You have to get inside of the intention of the song or the piece or the composition, whatever it is that you're playing. Generally, every composition has a certain kind of framework, a melodic structure, a harmonic structure that leads you in a direction, whether it's a happy tune, whether it's a sad tune. The tempo of a song also depicts the mood of a tune. So those are the primary things. So you have to fit whatever the emotion you want to express inside of that. It's kind of difficult to say, let's say it's a minor tune. You can play happy or inspired, but maybe that character doesn't fit with the music. So you always have to think about what is the character of the music and the musicians that you're playing with to bring that kind of energy to propel that. I don't know if that helps.
Oh yeah, it does. Thank you.
Well, as you asked that question, I started thinking about, well, trumpet players too, but trombone players and our plungers and how we use like different positions and the way we hold it to convey different feelings and emotions. I think the same thing can hold true in drum and percussionists as well. You know, just the way a certain piece of equipment is struck. Like you wouldn't play your drum the same way in a passage, especially when you're improvising. You switch up. Like you don't play your drum the same way every time, don't you? You strike it soft, you strike it, hard sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in a tune, if something is about to switch, you have to convey that as a drummer, as a percussionist. There's some way that you have to let them know that the next phrase is coming up. Whether it's striking on an offbeat or striking somewhere where it's unexpected. There's more ways that you can convey that, as a drummer.
If Mr. Jackson was playing what we call a New Orleans function, for instance, when he plays the dirge part of it, he wants to evoke the emotion of death or sadness. He takes the snares off the snare drum. If he wants to get to the happier part, which is the celebratory part that a person is going to a better day, he puts the snares on, he plays in a happier way. And he's got a whole vocabulary of ways he can do that for songs as well as forms inside of songs. And actually, when he plays, I actually hit pitches because he reaches out and goes beyond the barriers of what the norm is for whatever the drums can do. And I try to go into his world to hear in a way that takes it out of the non-pitch category. So I hear all the melodies he play up in there. I hear the harmonies he's playing by articulating the forms. There's a lot that he's doing. The question is, are you listening to him close enough to be able to hear it? And are you actually articulating what you're trying to do clear enough for people to hear what you're trying to do?
I think it's very important this is for all drummers. It's important to understand harmony. So if you don't have harmony in your parts, or if you don't have the melody or some kind of sensibility of the tune, your responsibility is to shape the music. So you're basically a conductor. You have to know the music. It's because that's the essence of our music and jazz music. The drums is at the center of the music. So it doesn't mean that you're overpowerful or overbearing, but it means that you have conviction. It's kind of like a quarterback on a team. You don't have to be the best athlete, but you got to be a leader. And it doesn't mean you got to be yelling at people, let's go, ah. And it doesn't mean you have to be really passive and not say anything, but it is you demonstrate it by your character and by example. So you're the essence of the band. There's all kind of different sayings about drums or drummers. If the drummer is noticeable, then generally he's probably not that good. But when you don't notice the drums and the band sounds really good, that's when you know that's a good drummer. They don't stick out. They blend in.
think too, if you listen to different drummers, every drummer has a different emotion. To get deep into what you're saying, it's important for us in the festival to see always better drummer. Because I sit next to Jeff Hamilton, he's always talking about the drummers. Think about the sound of Art Blakey, Philly Joe. I've been lucky in my time of playing to play with the greatest drummers. Very close with Elvin, play with Philly Joe, play with Art Blakey. Once sat with a bunch of drummers in Italy, Buddy Rich, Philly Joe Jones, Art Blakey, Max Roach. Those are all the greatest drummers. It's interesting for a trumpet player to be around all those drummers. First, how funny they were. Well, Shelly Manne was real funny, too. He's like a comedian. And the type of respect and reverence they all had for Max Roach. And Elvin would always say how many different characters Max could play with, and how Max is the modern drums, and how Max, you know, the way you strike any instrument is your disposition, and that has an emotion to it. Even how you smile at me has an emotion. Even you could be frowning and I still not be mad at you. Billy Higgins, you know, it's to understand the depth of your instrument. Many times we don't understand the depth of the drums. That is a deep instrument. That's the one instance where technology is not better. A drum machine will never be better than a drummer, ever. A drummer is just something.